Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Damodar Ki Jai. Gaur Premanandi. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Varadari Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Varadari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravanachari Yamuna Tiravanachari. Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Varadari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Giri Varadari. Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashoda Nandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Yamuna Tiravanachari. Jaya Radha Madhav, Jaya Radha Madhav, Jaya Radha Madhav, Jaya Radha Madhav. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Kartik Mas ki jai. Thank you all so much for coming to today's Srimad Bhagavatam class. I'm so grateful to be sitting here with you guys on this very auspicious first day of Kartik. I think I am very unqualified to give today's class. I felt like it should be someone that has been around a bit longer, but it's too late to change the schedule. We're going to stick with the original verse, and we'll tie it into Kartik somehow. Let's see if you guys can figure out my angle. We're gonna, I guess we'll. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sanskrit together. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim sarasvatim vyasam tato jayamudirayat Nashta Prayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayan, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam, and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto them, and I beg for service life after life. Okay. We'll get into, we're reading Canto 5 of the Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 23. We're going to read through the whole chapter today. It's only 9 verses. And we'll focus in on text 2. We're going to hear a little bit about the pole star, which is the kingdom that was granted to Dhruva Maharaj. You can just go to the verses. Please take turns reading, 1 verse each.
Sukadev Goswami continued, My dear king, 1,300,000 yojanas, which is 10,400,000 miles above the planet of the 7 sages, is the place that learned scholars described as the abode of Lord Vishnu. There the son of Maharaj Uttanapad, the great devotee of Maharaj Dhruva, still resides as the life source of all living entities who live until the end of the creation. Agni, Indra, Prajapati, Kashyapa, and Dharma are all assembled there to offer him honor and respectful obeisances. They circumnavigate him with their right sides toward him. I have already described the glories of the activities of Maharaj Dhruva in the 4th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam.
And we'll go over those activities briefly in the class also. Go ahead.
Established by the supreme will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the pole star, which is the planet of Maharaj Dhruva, constantly shines as the central pivot for all the stars and planets. The unsleeping, invisible, most powerful time factor causes these luminaries to revolve around the pole star without cessation.
When bulls are yoked together and tied to a central post to thresh rice, they tread around that pivot without deviating from their proper positions, one bull being closest to the post, another in the middle, and a third on the outside. Similarly, all the planets and all the hundreds and thousands of stars revolve around the pole star, the planet of Maharaj Dhruva, in their respective orbits, some higher and some lower. Fastened by the Supreme Personality of Godhead to the machine of material nature, according to the results of their fruitive acts, they are driven around the pole star by the wind, and will continue to be so until the end of creation. These planets float in the air within the vast sky, just as clouds with hundreds of tons of water float in the air, or as the great Shiena eagles, due to the results of past activities, fly high in the sky and have no chance of falling to the ground.
This great machine, consisting of the stars and planets, resemble the form of a Shishumara, dolphin in the water. It is sometimes considered an incarnation of Krishna, Vasudev. Great yogis meditate upon Vasudev in this form because it is actually visible.
This form of the Shishumara has its head downward and its body coiled. On the end of its tail is the planet of Dhruva. On the body of its tail are the planets of the demigods Prajapati, Agni, Indra, and Dharma, and at the base of its tail are the planets of the demigods Datta and Vidata. where the hips might be on the Sishumara are the 7 saintly sages like Vasishta and Angira. The coiled body of the Sishumara chakra turns toward its right side, on which the 14 constellations from Abhijit to Punarvasu are located. On its left side are the 14 stars from Pushya to Uttarasadha. Thus, its body is balanced because its sides are occupied by an equal number of stars. On the back of the Sishumara is the group of stars known as Ajaviti, and on its abdomen is the Ganges that flows in the sky, the Milky Way.
Text 6. On the right and left sides of where the loins might be on the Shishumara chakra are the stars named Punarvasu and Pushya. Ardra and Ashlesha are on its right and left feet. Abhijit and Uttarashada are on its right and left nostrils. Shravana and Purvashada are on its right and left eyes. Dhanishta and Mula are on its right and left ears. The 8 stars from Magha to Anuradha, which mark the southern course, are on the ribs of the left of its body, and the 8 stars from Mrigashira to Purvabhara, which mark the northern course, are on the ribs on the right side. Shatabhisha and Jeshta are on the right and left shoulders.
If you're a very visual person, you might be able to like imagine what this is, this image that it's painting. And I don't know if mine's accurate, but it looks pretty cool in my mind, just like this whole arrangement that's being made. Continue.
On the upper chain of the Shishumara is Agastha. On its lower chain, Yamaraj. On its mouth, Mars. On its
genital
Saturn. On the back of the neck, Jupiter. On its chest, the sun. Within the core of its heart, Narayan. Within its mind is the moon. On its navel, Venus. And its breast, the Ashwani Kumaras. Within this, its life air, which is known as prana, is Mercury. On its neck is Rahu. All over its body are comets, and in its pores are the numerous stars.
My dear king, the body of the Shishumara is thus described should be considered the external form of Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of God. Morning, noon, and evening one should silently observe the form of the Lord as the Shishumara chakra and worship him with this mantra. O Lord, who have assumed the form of time, O resting place of all the planets moving in different orbits, O master of all demigods, O Supreme Person, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you and meditate upon you.
The body of the Supreme Lord Vishnu, which forms from the Shushmara chakra, is the resting place of all the demigods and all the stars and planets. One who chants this mantra to worship the Supreme Person 3 times a day, morning, moon, and evening, will surely be freed from all sinful reactions. If one simply offers his obeisances to this form or remembers this form 3 times a day, all his recent sinful activities will be destroyed.
Thank you. And in the chapter summary, Srila Prabhupada says at the end that To concentrate their minds, yogis worship the Shishumar planetary system, which is technically known as the Kundalini chakra. I don't know if that has, it's being described as like a snake, so I don't know if that has anything to do with like Kundalini yoga. I don't know anything about that, but thought that was interesting. So we'll go ahead to text 2. And is there a meter for this? So we'll just read the word for word together. That planet of Dhruva Maharaj, he indeed, Sarvesham of all, Jyoti Gananam, the luminaries, Graha Nakshatra Adinam, such as the planets and stars, Animishena, who does not rest, Avyakta, inconceivable, Brahmasa, whose force, Bhagavata, the most powerful, Kalena, by the time factor, Brahmya being caused to revolve, Stanu Iva, like a post, Avastamba, the pivot, Ishvarena, by the will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vihita, established, Shashvat, constantly, Avabhasate, shines. Translation, established by the supreme will of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the pole star, which is the planet of Maharaj Dhruva, constantly shines as the central pivot for all the stars and planets. The unsleeping, invisible, most powerful time factor causes these luminaries to revolve around the pole star without cessation. Purport. It is distinctly stated herein that all the luminaries, the planets and stars, revolve by the influence of the supreme time factor. The time factor is another feature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Everyone is under the influence of the time factor. But the Supreme Personality of Godhead is so kind and loves his devotee Maharaj Dhruva so much that he has placed all the luminaries under the control of Dhruva's planet and has arranged for the time factor to work under him or with his cooperation. Everything is actually done according to the will and direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But to make his devotee, Dhruva, the most important individual within the universe, the Lord has placed the activities of the time factor under his control. Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. It's very interesting. I didn't know that until I read this, that time is under control of Dhruva Maharaj, the pole star planet. I took a few notes to kind of lead up to my segue into Kartik. One was like these verses, they're so amazing. These descriptions of the planet, they're so wondrous and magnificent, and they're just a tiny little bitty spark of the splendor of the Lord. And anything beautiful that we see in this world is a spark of Krishna's splendor. And so we can appreciate these things in that consciousness. We can appreciate everything beautiful within this world in the consciousness that this is coming from my Lord, and that's why it's beautiful. At the same time, we don't want to get distracted by these things, by the amazing beauty of the material creation. We don't want to think that, oh, this is it then. This is coming from my Lord, and I'm happy here, and I'm satisfied with just, the external energy because it's pretty. We need to go deeper than that because we'll never be satisfied. Because time will change everything, and time will take these eyes that we use to appreciate, the beauties of this world, and time will move the mountains and cover everything in snow, or, everything will change. So we don't want to get attached to anything here, but we can see everything as a reason to remember Krishna and be grateful for him. But if we are a little bit distracted by the material energy, there's never a wrong reason to turn to Krishna or to pray to Krishna. Sometimes we hear, and this is true, that we really shouldn't go to Krishna with like material desires or material ambitions. It's just, he might take everything away from us. Many people, they don't even want to worship. Many Hindus, they don't even want to worship Krishna because they hear that he'll take everything away from them. No, I'll go to somebody who will give me benedictions. But we, devotees of Krishna, we understand there's no wrong reason to turn to Krishna, even if it's for material desires. And this is what we saw in the pastime of Dhruva Maharaj. This is what he showed us, was that for whatever reason you have, just turn to Krishna. Would anyone like to briefly describe the pastime of Dhruva Maharaj? Sure, yeah. Go ahead, please. Start there.
Dhanapad? I get, what was his brother's name?
I don't remember all the names.
Uttama, yeah. So Suruchi was his favorite.
Mm-hmm.
And so the boys were sitting on the king's lap, and the king was, petting both of them. And then when Suruchi saw that Dhruva was sitting on one lap and Uttama was on the other, she grabbed him and pulled him down off of his dad's lap.
How old was he again?
He was 5.
5 years old.
Yeah, just turned 5. And he became extremely upset. And she chastised him, for you to sit on this great man's lap, you must take birth from my womb. So he went back, choked and crying, to his mother, Suniti. And she said, yes, Dhruva, it's true. The queen, she is his favorite. Suruchi is his favorite. But I know that all your desires will be fulfilled by taking shelter of the Supreme Lord. And so where to find him? In the forest. And so he said, please give me blessings. At first she didn't want him to go, and then he got blessings from her to go.
I like how Gauravani in his Leela Kirtan, he says, she thought she was telling him a bedtime story, but Dhruva was a warrior. He took this as an instruction to go to the forest. Would you like to continue? Just wanted to add that.
So Dhruva, he set out, being the Kshatriya he is. He decided, I didn't get a kingdom like this. Well, that's all right. I'm going to get a kingdom greater. In fact, I'm going to get a kingdom greater than my grandfather. So he was very determined.
And his grandfather is Lord Brahma. Right?
That's right. Which is saying a lot. Brahmaloka. So he goes into the forest, and he's at first eating very sparingly, just little roots and fruits. Then he gradually stops taking even that. He takes just a little bit of food, and then a little bit, and then pretty soon he's just not taking anything. And then he's not even drinking water.
Right. And he's 5 years old. We have one 5-year-old in this room right now, Vrinda over there, and she's little tiny girl. Can you imagine a little boy doing all this austerity about
it's
that
very
size?
Intense.
Yeah.
And if we ever do a play, Vrinda can be Dhruva. That would be great. So then and then the power of his austerity was so tremendous. Narada came, and I he was trying to dissuade him. Oh, go back, go back. It was just a passing, misunderstanding. And Dhruva said very respectfully, no, I will not go back. I respect you very much, Sage Narada, but I am determined to do this.
I have this desire.
I must see Lord Vishnu.
Yeah.
Please give me shelter to receive the audience of Lord Vishnu.
Yes.
And so he teaches him, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So he teaches him that verse, and he chants it perfectly. And finally, meditating on the Lord in the heart, disappeared. And standing before him was the Lord. And the Lord already knew why he was there. And then he lamented, my Lord, I've been looking for broken pieces of glass, and you are the greatest treasure.
Yeah. Yeah, he realized that this kingdom that he was seeking was just some, temporary thing, and that when he saw the lotus feet of the Lord, he could understand that it was actually the goal of my life. Yeah, and if you haven't heard the Gauravani Prabhu's Leela Kirtan of this pastime, it's just absolutely incredible. He really takes your heart on a journey. He has you imagine the thing that you want most in this entire world, and he keeps you with that meditation throughout the kirtan, and then he takes it away. He's like, oh, it's nothing. It's broken glass compared to darshan of the Lord. Well, if you were meditating on pure devotional service, then that's another thing. But microphone. Oh, there it is.
And if you type in time lapse of the North Star or North Star time lapse, you can literally see everything revolve around the North Star. It's actually.
Let's see that. Oh, wow.
Yeah. So.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and then you can. There's like some picture where you can actually see it like very clearly.
Wow.
There it is. The one right below it. There it is to the left. To the, where your mouse is, go left, and then go up, and then that one. Wow. You can see the North Star right.
That's exactly what's being described. Is that all the planets are just like going around it.
Isn't that cool?
Incredible, yeah. So this is the kingdom that was given to Dhruva Maharaj, and not just a kingdom, but he was given control over this time factor that is the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in this material world. That's how much Krishna reciprocated with his devotees' determination. And so I'm wondering if anyone can guess how I'm gonna segue this into the month of Kartik. Can anyone catch my angle? Okay, determination like Dhruva Maharaj. I'm looking for a specific. Okay, Krishna puts the devotee above himself. Yeah, these are all good. Back there. That's not Damodar, but good guess. Good guess. I'm looking for two words with an and in the middle.
Oh, we talked about it this morning.
Endeavor and mercy. Endeavor and mercy, exactly. This is the theme of Kartik. This is the big like lesson that we take from this pastime of Yashoda Damodar. And the lesson that we take from this pastime of Dhruva Maharaj is that we have to Hare Krishna. We have to endeavor with everything that we have. And then what? And then we wait for Krishna's mercy. There's not much else. I mean, we can't manifest anything. We can't make anything happen. I really like my Shiksha Guru. He often says this. We act like everything depends on us and pray like everything depends on Krishna. Or do your best and let Krishna do the rest. There's a lot of like little sayings like this that we can remember. So how does endeavor and mercy come into the pastime of Damodar? Would anyone like to give a overview of the pastime that we're celebrating this Kartik?
Okay, so the endeavor is trying to catch that guy. First of all, he's extremely fast.
Right, the fastest
and he
of the
can
fast.
corner like no one else can. And she's like heavy on the top and thin, tiny waist and running as fast as she can. And finally he lets her catch, and then the rope is too short.
Yeah.
And so she's trying to tie, and it keeps being short by 2 inches, and the sages have a purport to that.
Maybe I'll just share from the beginning. I'll kind of take us through the pastime, and I'd love if anyone has like some extra details that you find really inspiring, then please share. So one day, Mother Yashoda, once upon a time, in the land of Vrindavan, Mother Yashoda was taking care of her baby Krishna, and he was small, like 2 years old at this time, 2 or 3, and she was feeding him from her breast. He was still small, and she was providing for him in that way, and he was peaceful and happy, and it was a moment of connection between mother and son. But she was also in the middle of boiling some milk for him on the stove, some cow's milk, because he likes that too. And all of a sudden, what I've heard, which I thought was really interesting, was that the milk on the stove got jealous, because everything is alive in the spiritual world, everything's conscious. The milk on the stove got a little bit like, there's no envy, but the milk on the stove was feeling bad, like, oh, Krishna's going to be satisfied from Mother Yashoda's milk. He's not going to want to. He's not going to accept me. He's not going to want me. So the milk decided to just throw himself into the fire. He said, there's no point in me living anymore. I'll just end my life. So the pot of milk starts to boil over and go into the flames. And Mother Yashoda, she sees this. She's in the middle of feeding her baby, but she sees this. And she puts Krishna down. She runs over to tend to the milk, turns down the fire, makes sure that everything is clean. And Krishna gets really, really upset. And I'm sure the mothers in the room can probably relate to this, putting down your child for a second and they just like throw a temper tantrum. So this originates in Krishna. So we can think of Krishna when this happens. So Krishna gets really upset and he throws a temper tantrum and he breaks a butter pot and he runs away. And Mother Yashoda is just like, oh no, what's going on? Like, I just put him down for a second. I'm doing something for him, but he doesn't realize that. But now he's done something that naughty. He's broken a butter pot. He's gone. He said, Mother Yashoda's not going to feed me, so I'm just going to steal all this butter and eat it myself. And so he's there and he's eating the butter, and then he sees Mother Yashoda's looking for him. And she's mad. She's upset. She's displaying anger for the sake of the pastime. And he's getting scared. And he's got butter all over his hands and feet. And he starts to run from Mother Yashoda. He's leaving little footprints, butter footprints on the floor. And he's running from Mother Yashoda, trying to hide. And she's getting more and more upset because he just broke a pot. He's stealing butter. Now he's not accepting, his repercussions. So she picks up a stick. And she's not actually going to hit Krishna with the stick, but she wants to scare him a little bit. She wants to show him. Yeah, she shows it to him like, look, you can't behave like that. I got to teach you a lesson. And this is what we're seeing here. So she's chasing Krishna around, and it takes a little while. She's chasing Krishna around with this stick, and Krishna's, God. He's extremely fast. And so there's a detail described that as she's chasing Krishna, the flowers are falling from her hair because they don't want to be like part of this crime of catching the Supreme Personality. So they're like, okay, I'm out of here. You can chase Krishna and tie him up if you want, but we're not part of that. And some of them are hanging on for dear life. Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. We're gonna catch Krishna. Yeah. This too, they throw themselves at. I've heard this too. Yeah, I've heard both. I'm sure there's so many reasons why they all have their own meditation. So finally, after a long chase, Krishna allows Mother Yashoda to catch him. Now he is breathing. It says he's fearful and his breathing is quick. Yeah, he's scared. He's expressing this fear, these emotions. This is the highest bhav. This is the highest experience for Krishna, is to give pleasure to his devotees in these ways and to experience all these different emotions with his devotees. And so Yoga Maya, to facilitate Krishna's enjoyment, she, by his own desire, overcomes him. And he becomes afraid of Mother Yashoda. He forgets that he's God. He forgets that he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ultimate controller. Everything, balances within him. And he's scared. And his breathing is quick. And he's got tears coming from his eyes. And he's shivering. Yeah, he's shaking. He's so scared. And I mean, there was a picture we were looking at earlier this morning during japa, and I could really see the artist really did a good job of making him look very scared, like a scared little boy that's getting in trouble. And it was just so blissful to understand that he wants to feel this way, that this is his greatest joy, is to feel scared of his mom. So yeah, he finally lets his mom catch him, and she finds a grinding mortar where they use it to grind flour or something like that. grains, yeah, spices, and she finds a rope. So she's gonna punish Krishna. So she goes to tie him up. She finds a rope and she's tying it around him, but it's too short. How many inches too short? 2 inches, or 2 fingers, I guess some people say. 2 fingers too short. Okay, that's fine. We'll get another rope. We're gonna find another rope. So she asks somebody to go get another rope so that she can tie Krishna up, and they bring it over and she ties it to that rope and she makes it double the size, and she goes to tie it around Krishna, and inconceivably it's still 2 fingers too short. And this continues for a while. She's going through all the ropes in the villages. They're untying the calves and the cows. They're untying all the animals in the village and using all the rope. I mean, I can't even imagine what they're experiencing right now. They're bewildered. They're anxious to get Krishna the punishment he deserves. They're wondering like, what is going on? But still they think that they can do it somehow if they just get one more rope. So they're just continuously trying. Now this was part of Krishna's arrangement too, to let all the cows and the calves be free from their ropes for a little bit so that they can just be together freely. The calves could go to their mothers. So that was also part of Krishna's plan. He was like, I'm gonna arrange so that all the cows are free. Every single rope in the entire village is now tied together. They're just still trying. They're not even like questioning it. They're just really determined to tie Krishna up. And it's just continuing to be two fingers too short. Now this is a bit of an esoteric thing that I've heard, and I don't know the source. So somebody please tell me if you're like, that's not right, or if you know the source, tell me if that's the source. But I did hear that finally Mother Yashoda saw Srimati Radhika running around somewhere, and she had a bow in her hair. And Mother Yashoda said, can I please use this bow? We've used up all the rope. There's nothing else that I can use. Can I try? Can I just use this bow that you have in your hair and tie it to this rope? Or something. Maybe she didn't ask Radhika herself. Maybe she asked, the mother or Radharani gave it to her. Thank you. Where did you hear this? Gopal Champu. Okay. Thank you. Because I've heard this a couple times, but I never found a source. I'm so grateful. Thank you. So finally, with Radharani's ribbon from her hair, Mother Yashoda is able to make that 2 inches, complete that 2 inches, and bind Krishna by the waist. And then the pastime continues that there's so many reasons why Krishna does everything that he does. So they leave Krishna tied to this grinding mortar, and Krishna starts to get restless. He's a little bored, he's annoyed, all his friends are playing, so he decides to crawl with this grinding mortar. It's very heavy, it's made of stone. It's not like, or I guess wood. I've heard different things, but it's super heavy. Very, very heavy. But he's God, so he's a little tiny baby crawling towards these 2 trees, and he crawls between them, and the grinding mortar causes the trees to collapse, and out come the 2 personalities, Manigriva and Nalakuvera. Yeah, these were they were cursed to stand as trees by Narada Muni, right? They were bathing in the heavenly planets with some damsels. They were enjoying. Their father is the treasurer of the demigods. They're wealthy. They're like wealthy even for demigods. So they were having a blast, enjoying pastimes in the water. They weren't clothed. They were intoxicated, and Narada Muni came by and saw them. The girls, they immediately covered themselves out of respect for this great sage that was coming by. But these 2 demigods, they were intoxicated, and they were a little proud, so they didn't care much to cover themselves. And Narada Muni said, okay, if you want to stand naked like this, then you can stand naked for thousands and thousands of years. But the curse of a pure devotee is actually always a blessing, because the only person that was able to free them from this curse was Krishna himself. So they got the direct darshan of this beautiful childhood form of the Lord with bimba fruit cheeks and curly hairs around his faces and butter soft feet. So they were extremely fortunate. the cowherd people of Vrindavan heard this crash of the trees, and the little boys were like, Krishna did that. Krishna made it fall. Like, Krishna pulled it down. But the parents of Vrindavan, Nanda Maharaj, they were like, there's no way that Krishna did this. This must have been some demon. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Vishnu, for protecting my dear Krishna. They were thinking like that. So they go and they start to take care of Krishna, fan him with a chamra, fan, auspicious things for his protection. And yeah, those are some of the details of the pastime of this month. And I just want to go back to this part of endeavor and mercy, that Mother Yashoda tried so hard, and she was sweating, and she was really just doing everything that she could to teach Krishna a lesson for his own good, so that he doesn't grow up to be a misbehaving, young man. She wanted to teach him a lesson, so she was trying so hard, and Krishna finally, because he saw the love, he saw the sweat on her brow was her love for him, and he finally, relented. But actually, if we understand that this hair bow from Srimati Radharani was the key. So we endeavor with all our might. And Srimati Radharani, she takes pity on us. She sees that these jivas, they just want to come back to Krishna. And she has so much compassion for us. And she wants Krishna to be happy. So she wants everybody to serve Krishna. That pleases the jiva, it pleases Krishna. And so she, by her mercy, by the mercy of Srimati Radharani, that's how we can capture Krishna, and we can develop pure love for Krishna and pure devotional service at Krishna's lotus feet. Yeah, we've been hearing in Nectar of Devotion that we're studying in the evening, that there's these energies of Srimati Radharani that come whenever we do devotional service. Ladini Shakti, Samvit, and Sandini. So Satchidananda. This is Srimati Radharani is our entry to service to Krishna, and all of our devotional service is overseen by her love and by her grace. And I think this is why Kartik, I've never heard the complete explanation, so I'm kind of speculating a little bit. There's probably more explanations. There's probably unlimited explanations, but I've heard that Kartik is Srimati Radharani's month. This is her month. So maybe this is one of those unlimited reasons why, is because by her mercy, Mother Yashoda was able to finally bind Krishna. And by her mercy, one day maybe we can have some ownership over Krishna in that way, which is the highest state of love of God. Bhava, we feel I am Krishna's, but at Prema, we feel Krishna is mine. We were hearing that yesterday in Nectar of Devotion class. Okay, it's 8:24, and that's what I wanted to present, but I really wanted to hear if any of you have any meditations for this Kartik that you'd be willing to share, any points that stick out to you from the past times. Yeah. Prabhu back there? Can we get him a mic? Can you remind me of your name, Prabhu? I'm sorry, I haven't caught it yet. Mishra Bhagavan? Okay, thank you, Prabhu.
If I remember correctly, the demigods Nalikavera and Manigriva, they offered prayers to Krishna, and then they went back to being demigods.
Yeah.
So I was wondering why that opportunity, like with Dhruva Maharaj, when he saw Krishna, then he became pure devotee of Krishna. And that's the usual result of being able to, something like that happening where Krishna manifests in front of you. Why did they not become full-time pure devotees and just go back to being demigods after the incident?
I can't remember hearing anything on this question, so I'm wondering, has anyone else heard an answer? Mother Kunti said she's going through the prayers right now, so she's checking it out for us. I think Prabhupada Priya might have a point.
In the prayer in the Krishna book, Srila Prabhupada writes, We therefore pray that we may always be engaged in your transcendental loving service by speaking only about your glories and hearing about your transcendental activities. May our hands and other limbs be engaged in your service, and our minds always be concentrated at your lotus feet, and our heads always bowed down before the all-pervading universal form of your lordship. That's the last paragraph of there.
So perhaps they went to finish off their business in the realm of the demigods, but they went with a new perspective.
They became lovers
They
of God.
became pure devotees of the Lord. Probably did some preaching.
It's kind of a common thing that, like, even with Dhruva Maharaj, although he no longer wanted to have a kingdom, but Lord Vishnu was like, take your kingdom and rule over it for 60,000 years. And then then he goes back to Godhead. Same thing with, what's his name, Muchukunda, that was sleeping in the cave, that he really wanted to go with Krishna and just be with Krishna. And Krishna's like, no, you just stick around here for a while and you're not going to have my association for such a number of years, but you'll be reunited. You'll go back to Godhead and we'll be together eternally in due course of time. So, Krishna has his plans for all of us, and sometimes we may not want to do something, but Krishna still has some work for us to do here. Either maybe in a subtle way we need it, or he really needs something to get done, and he needs someone to do it, so he keeps us here to do it. And so, but the thing is that it's also showing that spiritual perfection is not necessarily like a geographical thing. It's like you don't have to go somewhere else to go back to Godhead. Like if you're a pure devotee and you have this attitude of engaging mind, body, and soul, everything in the service of the Lord, then that's Jivan Mukta. That's like you're already in the spiritual world, even while you're still in this world. So that's the difference.
Thank you. Do you want to share any meditations for this Kartik? Anything we can carry with us throughout this month? Or just like a meditation that you would, I'm very young and new in devotional service. So
I was thinking about the 3 S's: steady, serious, and sincere. That was
steady, serious, and sincere. This is our side of the deal. This is our endeavor.
That's what I pray.
And then we might attract the mercy of Radha and Krishna. Thank you.
Just to clarify a little bit what I was talking about. Krishna told Nalikavera Manigriva, your lives have now become successful because you've developed ecstatic love for me. This is your last birth within material existence. Now you can go back to your father's residence in the heavenly planets, and by remaining in the attitude of devotional service, you will be liberated in this very life.
Beautiful. Thank you, Prabhu, for concluding that. Ajit had a thought.
Thank you for the nice class. I just have a question about Yogamaya. So if Krishna, obviously Yogamaya is under his own control, but then under Yogamaya he forgets that he's God. So how does that end? How does he snap out of it? You know what I mean?
He's also all pervasive. It's like, okay, this is how I imagined it. And you guys can let me know if this is too mundane. But when I was a little kid, I would play make-believe with my friends, and I would get pretty into it. I would really start to think that I was a, mom or a teacher or whatever it was. I would really get into that mood. I would sometimes, I remember making myself cry, thinking something was happening, and I knew that I wasn't that, character that I was playing. But on a deeper level, it was this is bringing so much joy, so I'm going to be there in that mood. So maybe that's maybe that propensity, that we have as children, that comes from Krishna, and he's performing his pastimes in a similar way. this is the highest manifestation of Krishna's energy. Him as God is like not, whereas in my example, I'm not actually a mom. I was just pretending to be, but I'm actually like a little kid. But he actually is a little boy, and he's also actually God. So it's inconceivable, but that's kind of the way I conceptualized it. Does anyone else want to share anything on that?
This also shows the exalted position of Yoga Maya. She's completely understands Krishna's mood. Okay, no, it's this.
And he trusts her completely.
Like a mother.
Yeah. Beautiful. Okay. Anyone else want to share? Okay. Temple President ki jai.
This is a small fun detail that Mother Yashoda before this pastime starts, Krishna was stealing butter and milk and yogurt from all the other gopis, the mothers, and she was thinking, like, what's wrong with mine? Why is he going everywhere else to steal? So like maybe the milk I'm using is not good enough. So there's these special cows that only eat specific grass, and they have flavored milk. It just comes out from the cows flavored. It's like this amazing milk. So that was the milk that was in the pot that boiled over.
Wow.
Was that flavored milk that?
So she was like, wait, this is special milk. I don't want to see
yeah.
Oh, nice. Does anyone else have any like cool details, really sweet details that can enliven this pastime for us? Yeah, you've heard? Okay. Well, let's spend this Kartik trying to find out some more details that we can share. Okay. Thank you so much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vansha kalpa tirubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.
कृपा भरौ भुवि भुव भारा वहन तारक वंदे रूप सनातन रघुजुगौ श्री जीव गोपालक वंदे रूप सनातन रघुजुगौ श्री जीव गोपालक कृष्ण कीर्तन गान कृष्ण कीर्तन गान नर्तन परम प्रेम में कामनी वीर वीर जन प्रिय प्रिय करो श्री चैतन्य कृपा भरौ तन्न कृपा भरौ भुवि भुव मारव अंतरक वंदे रूप सना